After a couple of hours, everyone had gotten into a new clearing, and Sori drew a new arena. "Alright, with this we can start the next few fights now," Izuku said, as everyone settled down and got ready to watch some fights. Except for Achiko, who was standing in the arena, ready to fight. "Ken, it's your turn. Hope you don't mind Nara." "It's fine. Let's see how long he lasts." Nara snickered, crossing her arms and giving her brother a smug look. Ken stuck his tongue out at his sister, before making his way over to the arena. He tried to look as confident as possible, but in all honesty, he was pretty nervous. Achiko had beaten Kiba, Fu, and Sanson in record time, and the only reason she hadn't beaten Kai was because of a slight error she made, leading her to getting blown away. But he was not Kai, nor could he turn into anything remotely as big and heavy as Kai. Not to mention most of his forms would be utterly useless in a battle like this. He only had one form that he could rely on here. Ken made it to his side of the arena, and quickly selected his form. In a flash of green light, Ken had turned Blitzwolfer. "Alright, are both of you ready?" Izuku asked, getting a nod from both of them. "Okay, begin." Immediately, both of them went into action. Achiko rushed forward while touching her arm, making herself heavier, while Ken opened up his maw, and unleashed a massive howl. "Awa!" A massive sound wave launched across the arena, covering it completely and engulfing Achiko in its reach. "Ack!" Achiko grunted in pain, as Ken's sound waves overtook her. Thanks to her increased weight, she wasn't pushed back, but she was struggling to move forward, both because of her increased gravity, and because Ken's sound wave was pushed against her. She felt like her ears were about to explode into a fountain of blood, and a painful ringing sound resonated inside her head. At this rate, she'd go deaf. Achiko gritted her teeth, and raised her leg as high as she could, before slamming it down with all her might. Slam! The ground shook like a small earthquake had hit it, and dust and dirt went flying everywhere, covering the arena completely. The dust and dirt flew into Ken's eyes and mouth, forcing him to stop his attack, and try to spit out the stuff. Ack! Release! Achiko returned her weight to normal, and charged forward, boosting up to 30%. Smash! Achiko jet her palm forward, into Ken's torso, taking away his gravity and knocking him away in one fell swoop. Ken flew out of the arena before he could even register what happened, and was slammed through a tree, before being stopped by the tree behind that one. Release! Achiko returned Ken's weight to normal, letting him fall to the forest floor. "Ken, are you okay?" Izuku asked as Vera ran over to check up on him. "Ow!" Ken groaned. "He'll be fine. He's taken worse." Nara told them nonchalantly. "He will be fine in a moment," Vera said, as she wielded her sledgehammer. "Alright, well then Achiko wins." Izuku called. "You okay to keep going?" "I'm good. Let's get on to the next round," Achiko said eagerly. "Okay. Nara, your turn," Izuku called. "Alright, fun's over." Nara took a deep breath. She had fun mocking her brother for the ass beating he got, but now it was her turn. She walked over to her side of the arena, and the two of them got in position to fight. In a flash of pink, Nara transformed into Diamond Head. "Okay, begin," Izuku signaled. The moment the fight started, Nara unleashed a siege of crystal, popping out of the ground towards Achiko, before immediately making a crystal platform under herself, lifting her a couple dozen feet into the air. Achiko jumped to the side to avoid the barrage of crystals coming up from the ground, before immediately running towards Nara, who shot down small crystals from her arm. Uraraka dodged and weaved around the rain of crystals. However, there was an issue. If she jumped up to Nara, she would be an open target, meaning that getting up to her would be difficult. Fortunately, she didn't need to get up to her. Achiko ran up to the bottom of the pillar and touched it. Shing! Suddenly, the pillar started sinking into the ground, as its increased gravity force caused it to bore into the ground. Seeing her footing disappear, Nara knew she needed to get out of there fast. She made part of her crystal rocket up under her, sending her flying into the air, where she did a mid-air flip, and shot down more crystals at Achiko to keep her away. Achiko dodged the crystals, running over to the left, while slowly trying to make her way toward Nara's location. Nara hit the ground and rolled onto her feet, before unleashing another wave of crystals toward her out of the ground. Achiko jumped forward, and leapt on top of one of the crystals, before leaping from crystal to crystal. Nara didn't have time to move, and as Achiko leapt at her with her fist raised, all she could do was raise her arm, and form it into a shield. Crack! Achiko's fist smashed into Nara's arm shield, causing it to crack like a nut, and Nara slid back a few feet. Uraraka flipped back, landing a few feet away from Nara, before charging back at her and touching her stomach, removing her gravity. Nara realized what was happening, and quickly reacted. She made spikes pop out from all over her body, stabbing Ochiko's hand and causing her to jump back, while at the same time she made spikes come out of her feet to try and anchor herself in the ground. The crystal girl then shot more crystals at Ochiko, but she ducked under the fire of crystals, ran at Nara, then uppercut her into the sky. The girl's feet spikes doing nothing against Ochiko's strength. Before Nara could try to do anything against her, Ochiko leapt into the air, and grabbed Nara by the leg, before spinning her around, and then throwing her back towards the ground, out of the arena. Slam! Nara hit the ground outside of the arena, and slid through the dirt for a couple of feet, before coming to a stop. Ack! Nara grunted in pain and defeat. Nara is out of bounds. Ochiko is the winner, Izuku announced. I think she did the best out of anyone so far. Aside from Kai. Fu noted. Alright, the next battle will be a 3-on-1. Girls. Izuku motioned toward his sisters. The girls all took their position. Yaba still looked mostly confident, but the other two, not as much. Inu in particular looked almost scared of Ochiko but tried her best not to show it, to little success. Is everyone ready? Izuku asked, getting nods from all the girls. Okay. Begin. Whoosh! The sisters joined hands, and unleashed a massive torrent of fire toward Ochiko, covering the entire width of the arena. As the flames traveled towards her, Ochiko powered up to 30%, increased her gravity, and raised her leg. Meteor hammer! Ochiko shouted as she slammed her leg into the ground, kicking up a massive wave of dirt, wind, and force, as well as covering the surrounding area in a dirt cloud. The wave hit the sisters' stream of fire, and pushed against it, even pushing it back for a second, but the sisters managed to breathe out enough fire, to overpower the wave, and push all the way to the other side of the arena. Once the arena was completely covered in fire, the girls continued for a few seconds, before halting their attack. Thinking they'd gotten Ochiko with their attack. Had enough. Yaba shouted cockily into the cloud of dirt. I hope we didn't burn her too much. Inu worried. G squinted into the cloud. Something's wrong. If she got hit, then shouldn't she have screamed? Or made some kind of noise? And then suddenly, the ground started to shake underneath G. Ochiko burst out of the ground, grabbing G as they both rose into the air. Uraraka threw G down, out of the arena, eliminating her. Shit. Yada swore, before she and her sister launched another stream of flames at Ochiko while she was in the air, but before it could hit her, Ochiko increased her weight, causing her to fall much faster, and making the two's attacks miss. Slam! Ochiko hit the ground so hard, it caused a small earthquake, which knocked the sisters off balance. Release. Ochiko returned her gravity to normal, and then rushed at Yada, quickly removing her gravity and chucking her away, out of the arena. As Inu watched her sister get eliminated, she knew the situation was dire. And so there was only one course of action. I surrender, Inu shouted, raising up her arms to signify defeat. With that, Ochiko is the winner, Izuku called. Phew. Ochiko immediately fell and laid on her back. Relieved that the fights were finally over. That was amazing, Ms. Ochiko. Kai praised her. You almost beat everyone, super quickly. You've definitely improved quite a bit, Hiba added, having gotten over her loss by now after seeing how everyone else fared. Yeah, it's rather incredible how fast you've improved, Fu noted. You could probably even beat that Yakuza guy by yourself now. Yeah, I bet. Ochiko chuckled, taking in all the praise, before going into deep thought. Could I beat that guy? Maybe, if I could get to one of his blind spots in time, it would have to depend on the terrain. Still, I've definitely gotten stronger. But I still lost to Kai because of carelessness. Maybe I could have. Before Ochiko's train of thought could continue, someone came in and caused it to crash. Well kid, looks like you're one tough cookie, Sori smirked, crossing her arms and giving her a dangerous look. After our nurse heals you up, how about you and I go around? Huh? Ochiko scoffed. Sori wasn't like the kids. She wasn't a bundle of unrefined pure power. Sori was a very thoroughly trained, powerful grown woman, whose power and skill matched high-level pro heroes. Ochiko had little to no chance of actually beating her, but, shouldn't she still try? So, what do you say? Sori asked. No pain, no gain. You're on, Ochiko said, getting fired up. XXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXX After taking some time to recover, and being healed up by Vera, Ochako was ready to fight again. She and Sori stood in the arena, in battle stances, ready to get things started. Alright. Both contestants are ready to fight. Remember Sori, you're not allowed to use your claws. Izuku reminded his employee. Begin. The two of them ran forward at each other. Ochako increased her gravity and shifted to 30% full cowling. Sori reached Ochako and put all her momentum into a single kick to the younger girl's stomach. Ack! Ochako grunted, as she slid back a few inches. Due to her increased gravity, she didn't go back very far, but this also had another consequence. When she tried to grab Sori's leg, Sori was able to jump back and dodge her grab. Heck, you may be harder to knock out of the arena, but you're also slow as heck. Sori explained, before rushing Ochako with a flurry of blows. Ah! Ochako hissed in pain as Sori's blows landed, and she put up her arms to protect herself. They stung like hell, and there were just so many of them, her arms were starting to get numb. Ochako lunged forward through Sori's blows, her leg hitting the ground hard as she stomped, and tried to grab her, but Sori just jumped back and dodged it with ease. Uraraka stomped towards her, each footstep causing the ground to shake and crack. Of course, no matter what she did she could never actually get close to the quick and agile Sori, who danced around her with ease, getting in a good few blows every now and then. After a few minutes, Sori was left disappointed. Ochako had proved to be nothing more than an extremely durable punching bag. She was covered in bruises and scratches and breathing heavily as she stood in the center of the arena. Sori, on the other hand, was untouched. Gotta say kid, I expected more. As you should, Ochako smirked, before raising her leg up. Because the battle isn't over yet. Sori looked at her curiously. Is she gonna make another dust cloud? Even if I can't use my eyes I still have my ears. Meteor hammer! Ochako shouted as she slammed her leg into the ground. But this time, the dust and dirt didn't rise up, because Ochako had increased the weight of the ground. So instead of rising up, the ground started going down. While Ochako was underground during her fight with the Cerberus sister, she figured out the ground they were fighting on was on top of a cave, with only a few yards of dirt on top of it. So naturally once she increased the gravity of the ground, and after her extremely heavy body lumbered around smashing the ground down, all it needed was one big impact and crack! The ground started to crack and sink, collapsing underneath the two of them. Shit! Sori realized what was going on and leapt into the air as the ground sunk down below her. Release! Ochako knew she had to move fast, she wouldn't get this opportunity twice. She leapt into the air, in the trajectory Sori was heading towards, and grabbed her in midair. Ochako went to touch her, and Sori punched her in the face to try and stop her, but Ochako endured, and touched her, increasing her gravity. Slam! Sori and Ochako smashed into the ground, Ochako riding the now heavier Sori as they plummeted into the cave floor. Ack! Both girls groaned in pain, as Ochako fell off her, and laid her back onto the cool cave floor, before vomiting up blood. Using 30% of one for all had taken its toll, and damn did it hurt like hell. Meanwhile, Sori had just been smashed 2 stories down into a hard cave floor with increased gravity, and still felt that gravity pushing down on her. In other words, neither of them was in great condition. Izuku looked down the hole, to see if they were both okay and if they could keep going. Ochako! Sori! Can either one of you still move? Sori tried to force herself up, but to no avail. The weight was far too much for her. She was pinned. Ochako meanwhile, was not doing much better. Her body was wrecked from using her quirks for so long, and there was no way she'd be able to pull herself up on her own. But there was still one thing she could do. Ochako closed her palm and took away her own weight. She could feel her stomach and her head revolting against this decision, but despite this she nudged herself up, her weightless body floating up onto her feet. I can still stand up. Should I count that? She can still technically move. I guess it counts. Izuku decided. Sori is unable to move. Ochako is the winner. XXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXX. Well, damn kid, I can't believe you actually got me. Sori chuckled, as she and Ochako got patched up in the med wing. And by patched up, that meant Vera was hitting them with a sledgehammer. Neither can I, honestly I didn't think that plan would work, Ochako admitted. Although, I don't think I would be able to beat you under most circumstances. Oh definitely not, but it was still impressive. Sori praised her. When you get stronger again, let's have another bout. I could definitely use the training. Ochako smiled. I'll take you up on that if Izuka lets me, of course. I don't see why I wouldn't, Izuka said, watching them over on the side. The kids got real fired up after today. You showed them just how much they have to improve to keep up. Well, they just need to keep up what they're doing, and they'll. Achiko stopped. She wanted to say they would catch up to her, but she had one for all, so. Izuku understood this just from the look on her face, and winced slightly, before changing the topic. Anyway, Achiko, do you want to stay for dinner? Sure. I'll probably need to rest up a bit before I can go back home anyway, Achiko said. Vera could heal wounds, sure, but she couldn't treat exhaustion. Great. I'll get started on it now, Izuka said as he took his leave. Just try to relax for now. Don't want to hurt your body by overdoing. I don't want to hear that coming from you, Achiko said, half jokingly, as Izuku left the room. Achiko leaned back and laid down on the bed. Yet another fun and productive day at the Midoriya Foundation. She really did love it here.